Hey guys, it is good to be with you again today, though not face to face or even via VC. But it's good to be with you even though this is a recording. Um, hey, I want to start by recapping what I talked about last time we were together, and that is the role of a caregiver. Um, uh, Remember, I said that there are three pieces to this to your role as a caregiver. The first piece is that, and I use this idea of a pyramid. And that first piece, the bottom piece of the pyramid, is building trust. That you're going to be present with the kids. You're going to that's the bottom piece, the foundation. Everything builds on top of the foundation of presence. You are present and you're building trust with these kids. The second piece that sits on top of presence is practice. There is something that we do, and as a caregiver, practice means living out what we believe. Caring, being a caring person, a loving person, living out what we believe. But it also means that the thing that we're going to do, the thing that we're going to practice, is we're going to help the kids to tell their stories. And the third thing is that top piece of the pyramid, and that is proclamation. There comes a time when we have something to say, and proclamation in terms of being a caregiver means that you're helping the person to reframe their experience. So that's the framework that we're working in. That's our role as a caregiver. There's something that I came across this week, or I was reminded of this week, that I wanted to add to that presentation from last week, and that is there are some myths and maxims that go with being a caregiver, that go with your role as a caregiver. There are some things that maybe we assume as a that there are some things that we assume about our role as a caregiver, and those things are myths. And there are 5 myths of being a caregiver that I want to tell you about. The first one is all they need is love. And yeah, that's true. They do need love, but really they need a lot more than that. It is a myth that all they need is love. Really, they need limits. They need guidelines. They need courage. They need time to heal. They need to accept the reality of their experience and not run from it. And they need a lot of patience from a caregiver. So it is a myth that all they really need is love. Second myth is that they will appreciate what you are doing for them, and they'll show it. The truth is that they won't. Maybe some of them will. Some of them will appreciate getting to hang out with you and playing games with you. But sometimes, no matter what you do, no matter how loving you are, no matter how great of a caregiver you are, they will not appreciate it. And in fact, even the ones who appreciate it won't say thank you. Even their parents may not say thank you and appreciate what it is that you're trying to do. In fact, the experience of the healing experience, talking about the things that they've been through, might create a lot of anxiety for them, and they might direct that anxiety toward you. So they may or may not appreciate what you're doing, and they may or may not say thank you. So don't expect that. Okay, the third myth is that traumatic stories will fade in their memory. We believe that kids are resilient, and they are resilient. But these significant traumatic experiences will stick with them. We've got the saying that time heals all wounds. It's just not true. Time does not heal all wounds. You've got to tend to the wounds for them to heal. So these memories will not fade into the past. And if you think about some of the things that you've been through, if you think about maybe there's when you were a kid, and somebody said something to you, there are words that stick with you, that when they said those words, it stung. And even now when you think back, to those words that someone spoke to you. Maybe it was an adult that was in your life that you love and trusted, but they said something and it went right to your heart and it stung. I bet if you think back even now to some of those things, you can still feel that sting. So these things, when they are significant, traumatic experiences, they stick with you. So the third myth, these traumatic events won't fade. The memories won't fade. The fourth thing is that you will like them. The truth is that there are going to be some kids that are going to drive you crazy, and you're not really going to enjoy being around them. Some of them you will. Some of them you will love and really be drawn to, but some of them will just be hard to be around, and that's okay. And the fifth thing is that you will be rewarded for what you're doing, and maybe not. Someday you will, treasures in heaven and all that stuff. But no, you may or may not be rewarded for what you're doing. Like I said earlier, you may not even get a thank you, and that's okay. But a couple of things that Dr. Whitty has taught me over the years, a couple of phrases that sort of stick with me is one is there's no limit to what God can do if you don't care who gets the praise. And the second thing that he always says is go in the power of the Spirit and leave the results to God. We sometimes want to be fixers. We want to go and we want to make things right, but we can't. We can't do that. We go and do our part, and we trust that God will accomplish what He wants to accomplish. So those are some myths of your role as a caregiver. Now there are some maxims, some things that are true, some things that we want to do, and there are six of those that I want to share with you. The first is that it's important to teach the child that part of healing is to accept the past and not hide from it. The second thing is that you want to invite the children to express themselves through all kinds of ways, through sound, through movement, through art, through play, through smell, taste, drama, all the senses. We want them to be able to, want to encourage them to express themselves in all these ways. The third maxim is that don't be overly impressed or frightened by emotional displays. They need you to be a strong, steady presence, and so they may tell stories that you have an internal reaction to. You're going to hear terrible knowledge, and you're going to want to react to that. But they need you to be that calm, steady presence. They can't see you getting overwhelmed by the stories that they're telling, because that actually breaks down trust. We want them to be able to tell their stories, but if they see that it's having a negative effect on us, then they won't feel safe to tell their story. So it's okay to empathize in some ways, and to show, if they're telling some terrible stories, you don't want to be sitting there with a smile. No, you want to empathize a little bit, but you don't want to show any overwhelm. Now, internally you may be overwhelmed by what you're hearing, and so there are things that we can do to, as a team, to process those things so that we don't get traumatized ourselves. But in the moment, it's important to be that calm, steady presence. The fourth maxim is that we want to demonstrate and teach that they have the right to feel however it is that they feel, and they have the right to share those feelings. Feelings are natural, and so we want to encourage them not to hide from their feelings, but to be able to express them in appropriate ways. The fifth thing is that we want to be sensitive, and I know you guys know this well. We want to be sensitive to family traditions, to culture, to rituals, especially working cross culturally. We want to be sensitive to those things. That's sort of a given, but it should be said. And the sixth thing is that we want to be speaking of the future. We want to be talking about when you talk about future, you talk about hope. A lot of times, people who've gone through severely traumatic experience, their hope is crushed, and they don't have any more hope, and they can't even think about the future. They can't even imagine what next year might hold for them. And so we want to be helping them to talk about the future. Also, when somebody's gone through this traumatic experience, we've talked about how they're stuck in that place of trauma. But when we talk about future, we help them to see that they're not in that place of trauma anymore. They're somewhere else now. When we talk about future, it helps them to take that gaze off of the experience of the past and shift it toward the future. So, as a caregiver, those are some of the roles, or those are a few more things about the role of being a caregiver.